Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United have signed a youth star by the name of Charlie McCann from Coventry. 15 years of age. Manchester City wanted him. He chose Manchester United. He chose Manchester United because he would have stayed at Coventry City, but he supported Manchester United as a child. And in the words of his parents and the Coventry City themselves, there was only one club he would go to and they would wish him well, and that's Manchester United because he supported them as a kid. Midfield player, 15 years of age, another youth starlet that apparently is going to be an absolute superstar. Called up for England under-16s in August. Don't know loads about him, not going to lie and say I've seen him play, but he is touted as being one of the future stars. But I mean, if you can say that about a 15-year-old. But the exciting thing is here, and in a way it's more exciting than signing a Perisic or a Lukaku. It's much more exciting because Manchester United, over the last 3 or 4 years, it started with Van Gaal to be fair, and it's continued under Mourinho. They've been doing it quietly or whatever. We've been speaking about it over the summer numerous times. Whatever we do in the main transfer window, in the youth, signing youth players of tomorrow, Manchester United have been very, very prolific. They're not messing around. They are going out and they are buying real top youth talent. Now there's no guarantees. I've got to say that there are no guarantees that they're going to be, you know, stars of the future, and some of them won't be. But we must be over about 10 now. I mean, notable ones, people like Tahith Chung, but only this summer. Charlie McCann, 15-year-old, one of the highest touted youth stars in England at the moment. We also bought Arna Pigmuel from Espanyol, one of the biggest youth stars in Spain at the moment. We bought Aliua Traore, and we bought Ethan Galbraith from, I think he was from Northern Ireland, and numerous others. So when it comes to Manchester United, and you know, maybe we didn't have the transfer window in the summer that we hoped we would have, but we have been prolific in signing young players. And I said this in the summer, we all did. We discussed it in one of the Skype Goldbridge shows, and I will be taking your questions tonight, don't worry. We said that Manchester United have been very aggressive at signing players between the ages of about 15 and 17 for the last 4 years. And I don't know the numbers. It must be, well, we must be hitting about 10 now. Well, if 2 or 3 of them make it through and be stars of the future, then it's 2 or 3 players we haven't got to sign. And I think United consciously have moved into this youth market over the last 3 or 4 years, like I say, because they don't want to be stuck in this situation where Ousmane Dembele's, Mbappe, you know, especially in the market that we've got, they want to go to Barcelona or they want to just go and earn money. Whereas United are going to get them in young. They learned, I think a lot of this goes back to Pogba. They learned a massive lesson with Paul Pogba, and I don't think they want to have to learn that again. I think they are very adamant that they will do it this separate way. So very excited by it. We're not going to see the fruits of our labour in relation to Charlie McCann for a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years. But the great thing is, as long as that conveyor belt continues, then, you know, Charlie McCann maybe in 3 or 4 years' time. But Gomez is another year closer, as is Tahith Chung. It was only going to be maybe this year, maybe next year, that they're knocking on the first team door, and then the conveyor belt continues. So very excited. Very good signing. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, share the video and get involved. Very aware at the moment that YouTube and in general viewing figures are very much down across all football channels. I don't know why that is. I don't know why people are turning their back on football when the football season starts. But get involved in the United Stand. You were with us through the summer. Get involved. Another interesting thing that I do want to get your comments on, Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil apparently would like to be reunited with Mourinho, which would mean Manchester United. What are your thoughts on that? We'll come back on that one. We'll definitely come back on that one. But first of all, let's have a quick look at what is going on in the world of football, because I haven't had no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I haven't had much chance myself to have a look. So, One Football, link in the video description. Let's have a look. AC Milan won. Not really interested in that. What I am interested in is Manchester United. Let's see what's going on. Okay, yeah. Andres Pereira responds to Jose Mourinho's criticism of his loan to Valencia. So, of course, Jose Mourinho, I loved it. He came out. We were all a bit confused as to why we were getting rid of Pereira. And Mourinho came out and said, well, he wanted to go. He wanted to go himself, presumably because he wants to get into the Brazil squad. So he's left Manchester United to go there for the year. Pereira's committed to them for a year. He wants to stay there for a year. But he's basically said that, you know, I don't have an issue with Mourinho, and I don't take it as a negative. I take it as a positive that he wanted me at the club. Bit weird. I don't know. I love Pereira. I think he's good enough to be a United player. But you look at the injury to Pogba, and Pereira would probably be pushing for a starting place. So, a little bit weird. Diego Costa is a balloon, says Roy Keane. What else? Manchester United versus Everton predictions. Yeah, not really interested in that. Marcus Rashford on Martial. We improve each other every day. That's very, very true. We've spoken about that before, haven't we? About Rashford and Martial and how, you know, people will go, well, who should play, which one should play. But the reality is they both give different things. I think at the moment I've sort of fell into the groove that Rashford should start because he's a little bit more suitable to that. He's a little bit more hard working, and Martial works when the game's stretched a bit. But you know, we're very fortunate to have two fantastic players like that working with each other, and long may it continue. So it's good to hear Rashford saying that. Everton move best for Rooney. Rooney back on Sunday, of course. Romelu Lukaku and Marcus Rashford, a joy to watch, says Daily Blind. And 5 alternatives to Paul Pogba for Sky Sports Fantasy Football bosses. And Janus is an idiot. Anyway, link in the video description. You can get all your daily Manchester United news on your phone. OneFootball. It's free to download. The link is in the video description. It's very good for your stats as well. You can have a look at the individual player stats and all of that. But just picking up on some of the things that were mentioned there. Everton have lost 3-0 tonight away to Atalanta. They put out quite a strong team. As I recall it, I think Michael Keane played, Wayne Rooney, Schneiderlin, Sigurdsson played. So they're playing us in just, you know, 2.5 days' time. Beaten again. You can guarantee it. Stuffed by Spurs, stuffed by Atalanta. They'll roll up to Old Trafford and play like it's their cup final. That would just be typical of Everton. That's what Everton seem to do. But you have to make a Fellaini tattoo, says Antonio. Never, never, never. But let's go back to that point. For those joining us a little bit late, we were just talking about the youth talent that United are signing up, and Charlie McCann, one of England's best young talents, 15 years of age, he signed today from Coventry City. Youth supported United as a kid, which is great. But I also was just on about Mesut Ozil linked to Manchester United again. Apparently he'd like a reunion with Jose Mourinho. Would you want Mesut Ozil at Manchester United? You know what? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Red in the Bed says we should smash Everton. I hope we do. I'm not so sure about Mesut Ozil. We've got people like Pereira maybe next summer coming back. We've got Mkhitaryan. We've got Mata. Mesut Ozil, whether he plays well for a rival or not, I always honestly feel from the bottom of my heart that he is a big game bottler and he goes missing. And I don't think he's got the identity of a Manchester United player. So Ozil for me would be a no. But Mourinho really likes him, and Ozil obviously likes Mourinho. I don't know what the situation is in relation to his contract, but I personally wouldn't want him. Right, I want to take some of your questions tonight. I'm doing a Premier League preview on That's Football after this show, but we've talked about the youth signing, which is fantastic for United. We've spoken about Ozil there, but I'm very aware that it's been a busy week, and that's what happens when you get 2 games a week, and we did the Skype show on Monday. What I want to do tonight is take some of your questions off the live comments and really interact, because we've not done that for a while because I couldn't do last Saturday. So United Stand is all about you. We've got a fantastic community and I want to interact and get involved. I wish you could talk your comments instead of typing them, says Tyrone. How long is Pogba going to be out for, says Camille. I'm not aware that it's been 100% confirmed about Pogba yet, but I had heard something today about 4 weeks. And I don't think it's still not been confirmed, so we don't know. Mike D, are you getting FIFA 18? Well, if you watch That's Football Premier League preview after I've done this, there's going to be some FIFA 18 content up there later on tonight. So FIFA 18 we're doing it on there. It's never really fitted well on the United Stand FIFA 18 content, but we will be doing it on That's Football. We've got a Manchester United special at about 11 o'clock tonight on there. Lots of new players take time to gel, says Joe Condon. Come on, fire your questions in. Adidas or Nike, says Brickafun. Adidas anyway personally, and Adidas in relation to history of Manchester United kits. Isco's agreed a new deal, says Cooper at Real Madrid. Do you think their warming up process before the match should be looked at, Mark? That's from Bobby Charlton. I saw your comment today actually on one of the videos, Bobby, about Pogba and warming up. I just think that when you look at the injury that Pogba got in the game, it was pretty innocuous and it was caused by overstretching, and it was just one of those things in a football match, really. Maybe if he'd stretched better, it wouldn't happen, but I think it can happen. It's not the first time Pogba's had a hamstring injury, though, is it? Evening to Rodney, he's joined us. Lindelof as a centre defensive midfielder, said Sandeep. He read something about that in the Manchester Evening News. And Rodney, hi, says Marcus Theed. Should we leave Griezmann and try to sign Dybala, says Dexter Sampson. Long way off to be talking stuff about that. I'm more concerned about this game against Everton at the weekend. Even more concerned, I would say now, by the fact that Everton have got stuffed again tonight, because I just think that they're going to turn up against us at the weekend, and we've got to take the game to them. I think they are going to sit back because they've let 6 goals go in the last 2 games and they've not scored a goal. So I think they will sit back, and it's down to us. Who do I think will replace Pogba, Jesper? Well, I did my match reaction, my match preview last night. I personally would go with the midfield 3 of Fellaini, Matic and Herrera. But reading a lot of your comments, as I always do on that video today, a lot of people have said, sod that, let's do Matic and Herrera as a midfield 2, and let's play Mkhitaryan as a number 10, Young or somebody on the right, Rashford on the left, Lukaku up front. Let's have a go at Everton. And you know, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I do think I do see Fellaini starting, and I think Herrera's got to start, just because what we lose with Pogba is that speed across the ground, which we won't get with Matic and Fellaini. So I would play him. Yeah, John Woolmer, I've just answered your question for you there. Mark, do you fear that Pogba could be prone to injuries in the future, says Panku? I do, and that's something we're going to have to manage, but it's early days to say that. Think we will win against Everton again, says Fitzy. We need to win. I know it's not good to be saying that at the start of the season, but if we want to be title contenders, then I think from Manchester United's point of view, we need to be up there. We don't need to be chasing. So we are top of the league at the moment, albeit by goal difference. City are playing on Saturday against Watford away. Watford have had a good start to the season, but I think City will destroy them. And I think City are going to start scoring a lot of goals. So that goal difference advantage we have at the moment, I think will get chipped away. So we need to win on Sunday. And then we've got Southampton away the following week, which is tough. Somebody was on about Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw will play against Burton midweek in the League Cup. I think that was pretty obvious that that's going to happen. And hopefully Luke Shaw can force his way back into the side, because we certainly do need a little bit more down that left-hand side. Tyrone Williams says he's starting to warm to Fellaini. Can I just be honest here, and it's nothing to do with digging Fellaini out. He did very well on Tuesday night, and he's done well off the bench this season. But all I'm going to say is we are playing pretty poor sides. Basel are a lower Premier League club at best. Swansea, West Ham, Leicester, they've not had good starts to the season. So I think judging any of our players at the moment is very dangerous. And I think that Fellaini will let us down. I think when we play somebody decent, he will do the things that he's done consistently. And I think people have short memories about Fellaini. He's doing well at the moment, and I wanted him to play against Stoke last week. I thought we missed him in that sort of game. And I want him to play on Sunday against Everton. So I'm not saying sell the man or anything like that. I'm just saying, if we play Fellaini a lot, we'll be battling for 4th. We won't be battling for 1st. He is not a Premier League. He's not a Premier League title player. He just isn't. And I also think people have got short memories. Everton last season at Christmas lost us the point. Manchester City got himself sent off headbutting somebody. I don't believe. I mean, Fellaini's nearly 30 now. I think he's always going to let us down. But I'm not going to. He's doing well at the moment. I want him to play on Sunday, but I wouldn't start warming to him thinking, oh, he's the solution. He will always let us down. Phil Jones is the same. He's always going to let us down. But I would play him at the weekend. Antonio Melky says he misses Rojo. He's so good. United boy, you have bored me to death tonight. So that's the only mention you're going to get. What else have we got? Fire in your comments. Arsenal game isn't starting till 9:05, says Bobby John. You've got a sad life if you're going to watch Arsenal. Kay Horsley says, who's the youth star we have signed? His name is Charlie McCann. He's a 15-year-old midfielder from Coventry City. Supported United all his life. City wanted him. He came to United because he supports United. Otherwise, he would have stayed at Coventry for any other club. Meant to be one of the best young talents coming through in English football at the moment. So he is now a Manchester United player, which is fantastic for us. Is there a place for Rojo, says Camille? I think at the moment, Rojo and Bailly would be first choice. We are struggling a bit for that left-sided centre-back. I'd play Smalling and Bailly. A lot of people don't like Smalling. They'd play Jones and Bailly, which is what I think Mourinho do at the weekend. But I think Marcus Rojo would walk straight into the United side at the moment. Shaka Phillips, I'm not answering that question, so stop spamming it. I'm not doing Team of the Year for me. It's not a relevant question I want to do tonight, unfortunately. It's more of a that's football thing. It's not a United thing. Who would be... Here's a good question, though. Michael Schofield says, who would be your first choice player to bring in to supply crosses? Well, I sort of misread that question, Michael, but it's a very good question. So, my first choice player at the moment for United is all about balance. I know he's not the best player in the team, but Ashley Young's got to play for me, and people have said play him at left back. That defeats the purpose of Ashley Young. Ashley Young has got to play on the right because he's right-footed and he's putting that cross into the danger area that is so hard to defend. If you put him on the left, he's going to curl it towards the goal because he's right-footed. If you put him on the right, he's going to curve it into that danger zone. So Ashley Young would play on the right for me. He's the best crosser we've got in the squad, bar none. So I think he needs to play because we've shown with Fellaini, Lukaku, Zlatan when he's back, we have got the players to get on the end of quality crosses. Who would I sign in? I think Perisic would have been brilliant, and I think Mourinho wanted him. It just didn't work out. But I really, you know, if you watch the watch along we did on That's Football last night, Spurs Dortmund, I really enjoyed that game from a neutral perspective. But Pulisic, I've spoken about him a lot, as have a few of you lot in the live comments before over the summer. I think Christian Pulisic at Borussia Dortmund is fantastic. I wanted us to sign him in the summer, but he is probably a little bit too young. He needs another year. But then watching him last night, I thought, no, he's not. We should have got him. He played on the left. Aurier had a, you know, BT Sports tweeted out today that Aurier had a good game. I don't know what game they were watching because he was homesick. I mean, he was travel sick, Aurier, last night in the first half. He was getting sent back to Paris and back to London so many times. It was dizzy. But Pulisic is a fantastic player, and I would love him. He's not the finished article yet. And also, what I like about Pulisic, and I'm glad I've said how good he is first. I love the fact he's American because we've got a lot of supports in America. I think he's going to be America's big superstar, their first big superstar, and I would love him to be that big superstar at Manchester United. But, you know what? I don't think we're going to sign him. I can see him going to someone like City because I think this is... Manchester City, for those who don't know, basically, Manchester City try to mirror Manchester United and they've got the money to do it. So they go out and they spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money on their youth setup and their resources and trying to build fan base around the world, but they haven't got any fans. And I think that's the sort of thing that we could miss out on. I think they'd see Pulisic and think, oh, American market. And that I can see City getting him. I'd love Pulisic to come to Manchester United. I think he's fantastic. George Kyle says, Mark, when you will admit you love Fellaini and that's why you have his figurine? No comment. Would you play Carrick with Matic playing a bit more attacking? I don't know how Carrick and Matic are more attacking, but no, I wouldn't. Lots of people firing in the questions tonight. Thanks for that. Remember to drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner and all that jazz. Keep spreading the news because we need to get the United Stand community back up again. It was vibrant in the summer. We're starting to build back, but don't leave football when the football season's on. We've got a cracking season ahead for you. Lots to go on with. The super chat option is the $1 at the bottom of the live comments. If you definitely want to get your question answered or a shout out, click that, make a contribution, and we'll give you a shout out. But I'm going to try and get through as many as I can anyway. We want the wig, says Chad Sproul. I don't know where the wig is. Yes, I have played FIFA 18. I downloaded it tonight on the demo. I played about 5 minutes, Manchester United versus LA Galaxy, just to get a bit of a feel of it. I scored with Lukaku straight away, and then had a great one with Rashford, shot from 30 yards and catapulted off the bar. But I am going to have a little FIFA 18 game later on tonight. It won't be on this channel, it'll be on That's Football, but you can follow me onto there in a minute. Not quite yet, but in a bit. Thoughts on Lukaku's new chance, says Jack Antoine. Well, Manchester United fans, especially those who go to the ground, are very creative and funny. I think it's a fantastic chant. Do I think, Nicholas Mayers, thanks for this question. He says, do you think Manchester United will ever use a 3-5-2? I think the plan was there to do it. I think that's what Mourinho wanted to do this summer. And I think Pulisic would have been the left wing back, where Valencia would have been the right wing back. What I've really enjoyed about this week is that we've seen that Ashley Young is probably the backup for Valencia. Brilliant. I like that. And Luke Shaw hopefully can come in and do it. I think 3-5-2 would work really well for United, but I think it depends on getting somebody who can do the left side. Blin's not quick enough. Darmian's too defensive. Chad Sproul, thoughts on Atalanta beating Everton 3-0? I think the only positive about that is that Everton have played on a Thursday. We played on a Tuesday. They might be quite tired. They're away in Italy. I'm worried that Everton have been beaten comprehensively twice in the last 2 games. They always turn up at Old Trafford, and I think they're going to be very resolute against us and hard to break down. So I just hope we win that game. I'd take any result. Harvey Games 123. Who have we signed? Charlie McCann, 15-year-old midfield prodigy from Coventry City. Yet another youth player signed by United, which is very, very exciting. Mike D's made a contribution. Thank you, Mike. And thanks for the contribution and thanks for the comment, because it's a very good one. It's one I'd missed. Pulisic's favourite club is United. He's a big fan of Rooney. I'd love him to come to Manchester United. Cal Davies 14 makes a really good point as well. Mark, imagine if Daley Blind had pace. I know what you're getting at. He would be fantastic. What about a midfield 3 of Matic, Herrera and Mkhitaryan, centre attacking midfield as game attacks? Yeah, I would like that. I would like that. Kluivert will come to Manchester United as carpet entertainment. I think you're referring to the chat that Mourinho had with him after the game of the Europa League final. Keep your eye on Kluivert at Ajax this year if you get an opportunity. I want to see what his development's like. He, interestingly as well, not many people will know this, we were speaking about it in the summer, Kluivert's agent is Mini Raiola. I say no more. Red in a Bed says Justin Kluivert is inbound next summer. Imagine if we got Kluivert and Pulisic. But we've already got Mourinho. We've already got Martial and Rashford. What are Angel Gomez's best qualities? Says you alright, yeah. At the moment, I think Angel Gomez hopefully will grow a little bit because he's quite small. But effectively, his best position is probably in behind the striker as a number 10, attacking midfielder. Very good with both feet. Good at running with the ball, but very creative. Got a good shot on him. I suppose if I was describing him from what I've seen, I would describe him as... He's sort of Iniesta-like, but with a bit more pace and skill. He's very creative, very continental sort of attacking midfielder. Mbappe or Dembele, says CMC. What a question that is. I was always a big fan of Ousmane Dembele. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. And as I said at the start of the season, all these people writing Barcelona off, I've got a funny feeling Barcelona will come out on top out of Real Madrid and them this year. Cali United has just... That popped into my head and then I saw your question. He says, if it's Barcelona versus PSG in the UEFA Champions League final, who do you vote for? Barcelona every day of the week. I can't stand what PSG have done. I don't like PSG, to be honest. Still think we're going to get Griezmann, says MUFC 14. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that today. Don't know what you lot think about it, actually. But, no... You know, United have basically tied an arm behind their back this season and just said, let's go for it. Because we didn't get the winger that Mourinho wanted to supply the crosses, which I think hinders us because we've got such height. And on top of that, we've also decided to go without a number 7. And people can say, well, there's other numbers we haven't got a player for. But Manchester United number 7, it's iconic. It's normally one of your best players. So to not have a number 7 is basically a big hint that we haven't got that star sort of player that we want. It's a big hint that it could be Griezmann next summer, I agree. But it could be somebody else. But what it is, obviously, is that we are going through this season without a number 7. And United won't leave the number 7 shirt dormant just because... You know, you could have given it to Rashford. I mean, whether people agree with that or not, the number 7 could have been given to a few players. But the fact that it's been kept vacant, I think, is very telling. But it's also a big hint that we're not complete. We aren't complete. So what we achieve this season is going to be very interesting. Because I don't know what you lot think. I don't think we are complete. Ben17 says, do you think Pogba is a good captain? Well, we haven't really seen much of it, but I think what the captaincy does do for Pogba is give him that maturity that he needs. 2 wing backs needed and another world-class midfielder, says Cyber Wes. I'm glad you said that, Cyber Wes, because I said this last night. I said it in the summer. I felt for a long time that our midfield is not equipped well enough to win this title. And I feel that because Pogba gets injured and we're just missing, for me, we are just missing that sort of Pogba replacement. You know, the closest you've got to it is probably Herrera. And Herrera is, you know, is he that good going forward? Matic, Fellaini, Carrick, Fellaini can get forward. I think Fellaini's best position is a number 10. I've always said that. That's where he was playing for Everton. But they're not creators like Pogba. And I think that is why Pereira was very silly, because he could have maybe pushed for that position with Pogba injured. But Pogba is, people don't get it. Even pundits paid a lot of money don't get it. I know rival fans don't get Pogba. I think some United fans don't get Pogba, although the vast majority clearly do. But a lot of pundits don't get Pogba either. I think they think Pogba's meant to do what an Ozil does, or a Zidane did, when it actually is a fusion of many different midfield qualities. For one, he's a superb athlete. For two, he's got a great shot on him. For three, he can switch the play like he can switch a light on. For four, he's tall, he's good in the air. For five, he's got the ability to track back and be strong and physical. He's basically very good at a lot of things. He's the archetypal box-to-box midfielder. But people think Pogba's an attacker. But he's not. That's, you know, if Pogba was an attacking midfielder, you couldn't play him. I mean, not many teams do what United did for the first 3 games this season, and that is play with a midfield 2. Because most teams will have a midfield 3 in the modern game because you need it, because the opposition play it. But to trust Matic, very experienced centre midfielder, and Pogba as midfield 2, and as to not get exposed there, just shows, one, the discipline and intelligence and what a good midfielder Matic is, but two, how athletic Pogba is, that because he can take on that mantle. As Alex Bork said, Pogba is incredibly all-rounded, and that's reloaded. Pogba is the complete midfielder. Remy says he's like Yaya Toure. I don't think he is. I think he's better. I don't think Toure ever really had the long-range passing or long-range shooting ability that Pogba's got. He had it, but the way Pogba does it, you know, Pogba's an expert at it. Jose Mourinho says you're running out of time. I don't know whether I am. Mark, do you think it's possible for Griezmann to come in January? Says MUFC14. I personally don't. I wouldn't get your hopes up. It'll be cup tied. You don't normally see marquee signings happening in January. They tend to be desperate signings or middle of the road signings or potential signings, like they've got potential. You don't really see the big signings, and one of the big reasons I don't think it would happen, although it's not the only reason, is this is a marquee signing that United will want to make a lot of marketing and publicity from. The summer's perfect for that. There's nothing to distract. There's no other football. You can focus. We've seen it ourselves over the last 3 years on the United stand. You know what it's like. There is no football for 3 months, but there are thousands of people watching every video we do, because signings and interest of signings it's interesting, it's exciting. So you sign Griezmann in January, people will be excited, but there might be an FA Cup game the night before or something like that. You do it in the summer, in July, first week in July. I mean, I know the World Cup will be on, but you know what I mean. Loads of interest, loads of shirt sales. Yeah, exactly, another reason. Somebody just said it there. Shirts come out. You know, it's not good to sign your new signing in January. Although, from shirt sales point of view, everyone buys the current shirt, Griezmann number 7, and then they have to do it again in the summer. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. It's not impossible. I just don't think it will happen. Shaka Phillips, is there an outside chance of United signing a player in January? I think United might sign somebody in January. I'm not going to write that off. I just don't believe it would be somebody of the quality of Griezmann. Chelsea won the league with 2 in midfield, says Mark Redmond. I sort of disagree. I think it was more of a 3. I think Chelsea on the attack were, you know, people call it a 3-4-3. It actually wasn't. When they were on the attack, it was a 3-4-3. When they didn't have the ball, it became effectively a 5-4-1. Costa just running around up front. So the way United played it was definitely a midfield too. And also, let's not forget that Chelsea had a very easy season last season with no European football. Dele Alli alongside Pogba. I'd like to see Dele Alli in a midfield 3 with Pogba and Matic. I think that would be a midfield to behold. Arda Turan from Barcelona would have been perfect cover for United midfield, says David Kaner. I know Ross Barkley's injured. He would have been alright. I think we missed the trick, but you know, we didn't even get the winger. So if we didn't get the winger, we can't moan about not getting another midfielder, because maybe that was a luxury. Do I think that... Here's a good question. Cal Davis again. Do you think Rashford will stay at the club forever and become a legend at the club? Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think there's only 2 things that will stop Marcus Rashford breaking Rooney's record at Manchester United. But, you know, 1 is he'll leave. 2 is he'll pick up injuries, because Rooney never really did that in his career. But you know what? I said this the other day. In relation to Marcus Rashford, thanks for the super chat, Mike D. We did read it out, didn't we? Yeah. In relation to Marcus Rashford, I don't think, and considering he's English as well, I think the British press have dealt with it atrociously, because this is a lad who, in senior football, has scored on his Premier League debut, his FA Cup debut, his League Cup debut, his Europa League debut, his Champions League debut, his England debut, his England European Championships debut, and his England World Cup Championships qualifiers debut. He's done it all. You know, whatever Rashford does for the rest of his career, there really isn't a tournament he can score in on his debut. He's done the lot. I mean, Rooney never did that. Shearer didn't do it. It's an amazing start to his career. But already, I think because he's a United player, I don't sense the press sort of believing in Rashford like I've seen them in my life, because I'm a little older than a lot of you. I've seen the press totally buy into people like Rooney, and you know they're absolutely obsessed with them from day dot. And Michael Owen was another one, but Rashford, it's not been the same, and I'm not sure why. But I think he's an absolutely fantastic player, and I think he's got a great future at United. And I think he'll score a lot of goals. He scored a goal at the weekend off the back of his head, didn't he? Didn't know anything about it. Who do I think is going to win the World Cup, says MUFC 14? I would say it will be... I've got a funny feeling Brazil... I can't wait for the World Cup. I'm going to be very neutral in the World Cup. And I'm just going to enjoy the football. I will support England, obviously, but they will let us down because Southgate's a rubbish manager. But I think Brazil, France have got a great squad, but I think Deschamps is a bad manager. If I was French, I'd be gutted because they've got a fantastic squad, but Deschamps is a very poor manager. I mean, he should be, any manager should be able to make them successful. But I think Brazil are always a threat. But I wouldn't, to be honest with you, could you move away from Germany and the efficiency of that team? Can Spain come back? Have they had their day? I think it's been very interesting, and I'm very excited about it. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching tonight. But don't forget to drop a like. Lots of people watching tonight, which is fantastic. I'm just going to give you a couple of heads up. 1, I'm doing a Premier League preview, a general Premier League preview on That's Football straight after this show. The link to get there, the live comments is already open, and I'll be over there in a couple of minutes going live. The link is in the video description. And it's called Premier League Preview, so you can click and that will take you straight to the video, and we'll be live there in a couple of minutes doing a general Premier League preview, because obviously there's some big games this weekend, Arsenal versus Chelsea, so we'll be over there doing that in a minute. One Football app, as I said, the link in the video description. Download that, follow Manchester United, some really good content on there daily. And obviously I normally do live shows at 8 o'clock every night. Tomorrow night I've got a leaving do for somebody at work, so I'm going to go and have a few beers. So there will be a video tomorrow night, but it probably won't be 8 o'clock, but it will be probably on my phone walking home, and I'll probably be a little bit drunk. So those people who like that sort of thing, I'm not condoning drinking, but I will be having a few tomorrow night. So that will be the next video on the United Stand channel. But I'll be over on That's Football in a minute. Link in the video description to that Premier League preview, and I'll see you there. And also I'm going to do Manchester United FIFA 18 on That's Football at about 11:15 tonight. I'm going to play that live with live comments, so you can see that on there. So basically, link in the video description, Premier League preview. Get onto That's Football and subscribe and click the bell. And if you want to watch the Premier League preview, that's great. I'll see you in a minute. But if you want to see the FIFA Manchester United thing, just click and subscribe and come back at 10:15, 11 on that channel. I'll see you in a minute. Thanks everyone for watching. And I'm going to go and do the Premier League preview now on That's Football. Link in video description. But thanks everyone, United Stand community. As per usual, you're absolutely fantastic. And I'll see you over there in a minute on That's Football.